Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the universe, the one we turn to, the one we reflect back upon, the one who grants us life, and the one who takes our life. Alhamdulillah, we have a great program offering. And in this great program offering, HIC and Masjid Ibrahim has decided to do a weekly Ramadan Reflections program. In this program, each Saturday, we'll do a snapshot or a prelude for the week of Ramadan. And what that means is that we'll be bringing to you a beautiful reflection and a recap of the days of Ramadan. We've asked Mufti Saad, and alhamdulillah, mashallah, he's offered his time to be part with us. And he will simply bring to you the elements of Ramadan on a weekly basis in this time slot. The session will be recorded for those that can't make it to this time period and can watch at a later time. We simply ask you to post your questions and comments in the chat, and at the end of the program, we'll go over the questions and comments. Your mic capability has been altered just for the safety and security to hear the message by Brother Saad. Our program card is very simple. We have a simple opening, which I'm just doing right now. Then Mufti Saad will have the floor. We'll discuss the talking points, and then we'll have a Q&A session, and followed by a simple dua towards the end of the program. So inshallah, without further ado, let's give Brother Saad our full attention and open up your mics, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulih Nabiy al-Kareem. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Forgive me, just give me a second to figure this out. So, alhamdulillah, as Brother Hassan Shah mentioned, inshallah, this program will be about how we can, of course, not only better our Ramadan, but also reflect on our lives and try to improve our lives throughout this, through this Ramadan, actually. So, alhamdulillah, on that note, inshallah, today's program will be regarding, first of all, reflecting over Ramadan and our lives, and then inshallah we'll go into a bit of fiqh, inshallah. Today I wanted to cover some fiqh of fasting and hopefully cover different angles of that, inshallah, and we'll conclude, inshallah, with Q&A and then with dua, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, as Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with being able to witness this Ramadan, this is in itself a great blessing of Allah Ta'ala. As we know, and we hear this often, right, that many people were with us last year, but they're not here with us this year. And we hear often that, life is taken for granted and we take our health for granted. But now, subhanallah, we are definitely seeing that, right? Now we understand and we're realizing the value of life and how fickle this life truly is, and how easily Allah Ta'ala can take it away from us. Now it's becoming a reality to us all, right? And now, subhanallah, many of us are realizing that at any given moment, Allah Ta'ala can test us, and Allah Ta'ala can remove the health that Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with, and Allah Ta'ala can try us just as He is trying many other people throughout the world. May Allah Ta'ala grant them all shifa, and may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for them and their families. Ameen. So Ramadan reflections, we want to speak about reflecting over our previous, the life we had before Ramadan and the life that we plan to have after Ramadan. So the life that we've been having and the life that we've been living before Ramadan, generally for the most part, of course, many of us, we live devoid of the worship of Allah Ta'ala, and we live a life in oblivion to our obligations towards Allah Ta'ala. We live in a life where we're focused on our responsibilities in this dunya, but we forget our lives and our responsibilities towards the akhirah. Unfortunately, that's the life that we live in, and we're truly blessed to have this Ramadan, right? This Ramadan is sort of a reset button, right? Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala blesses us yearly to have this reset button and to ponder and reflect over our lives, what we've done over the past year, and what we've accomplished, and how we plan on improving for this Ramadan, of course, but also beyond the Ramadan as well. And so, Alhamdulillah, we're blessed with this Ramadan. Now that we have this Ramadan, how do we react? How are we planning to react? What are we planning on doing to better ourselves, not only in this Ramadan, but also beyond? This quarantine, this Ramadan, all of this will definitely end. Ramadan will definitely will fly past, right? As we generally see, Ramadan flies by. Within a few, the weeks pass by without us realizing it, right? So definitely Ramadan will pass by, but the focus and the question will be, how did we spend the Ramadan, and how will we continue the actions of Ramadan even beyond the month of Ramadan? These are the questions that you and I, we need to ask ourselves, right? So now Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with Ramadan. This, of course, Allah Ta'ala hasn't blessed many others. I mean, subhanAllah, we look around, even family friends of ours, right? Sometimes families and sometimes family friends, unfortunately, they've been taken away, either due to the virus or due to other reasons as well. Allah Ta'ala takes them away when their time comes. Right? So Allah Ta'ala has blessed us to witness this Ramadan. Rasulullah, he would make this dua, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. He would make dua to be able to witness Ramadan from 2 months prior. He would make dua from the month of Rajab to have the ability to witness Ramadan. And after, as Ramadan would near, he would make the dua, Allahumma sallimni li Ramadan wa sallim Ramadan li wa tasallamhu li mutaqabbala. Ya Allah, safeguard me for Ramadan. Ya Allah, safeguard me for Ramadan in a manner that I am able to see Ramadan healthy and fit. Right? That's one. And then he would say, Allahumma sallim Ramadan li. Oh Allah, make Ramadan and safeguard Ramadan for me, so that when Ramadan does come, I am able to take full benefit from the month of Ramadan, and I'm able to use the full opportunities of the month of Ramadan to the benefit, to our benefit, right? And then Rasulullah would say, "Wa tasallamhu li mutaqabbala." Ya Allah, accept this Ramadan from us. Accept whatever actions that we do, accept them from us, right? So these are the du'as that should be on our tongues often, right? That Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with witnessing Ramadan. And now that Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with witnessing Ramadan, we need to make dua that Allah Ta'ala allows us to take full benefit from this month of Ramadan. If we don't value Ramadan, Allah Ta'ala can definitely make the month of Ramadan pass by and no benefit happens. There's no benefit, there's no change in a person's life. There's no change that will happen in regards to their deen, and life will carry on as it normally is, especially with this lockdown. As you know, the days all mushing together. There isn't a change anymore. Now, all the days seem to be the same, right? And just like that, Ramadan will also seem to be just like a normal day, if we allow it to be such. On the other hand, of course, we can take the Ramadan as an opportunity, and we can take it as a way and as a guide for us to change our entire lives, to make our lives better. Otherwise, what are we waiting for? SubhanAllah, many people, they say that, we're waiting for something to happen, we're waiting for either Hajj, or waiting for Ramadan, or we're waiting for, to reach a certain age or something else. Some people make these excuses, right? They say that I'll wait until I reach 60, or I retire, or something else happens. But subhanAllah, like I mentioned to you all before as well, that doesn't happen. Often it doesn't happen. Many times it doesn't happen. That Allah Ta'ala gives the person the tawfiq to reach that certain milestone and then change their lives. If a person doesn't decide to change their lives today, it's possible that their lives will never change. Right? So this is what you and I, we need to think about. If we are truly interested in changing our lives for the better, you and I, we need to start now. We need to start now, and we need to improve on our lives however we can, and whatever small actions we can do to make sure that our lives are improving, right? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, right? He says that ahabbul a'mali ila Allah adwamuha wa in qalla. The most beloved actions to Allah Ta'ala are those actions which are small, which are continuous, even if they may be small. Again, the most beloved actions in the sight of Allah Ta'ala are those actions which are continuous, even if they are small, right? So no matter what actions you're doing, just make sure you're consistent and you continue to do those actions, right? Make sure you you carry on with those actions throughout the month of Ramadan. So no matter what actions they may be, whether it be reciting Quran, whether it be praying tahajjud salah, whether it be making sure you're praying all of your daily salawat. Let's say, for example, there are certain people who don't have the habit of praying all of their salawat. Make that habit now. Start from today. Make sure you're praying your dhuhr salah, asr salah, maghrib, isha, and so on and so forth. Right? Make that habit. Continue to build on that as well. So now, let's say you are praying your daily salawat. After you pray your daily salawat, try to increase on that. Try to build and build on that and pray tahajjud salah. Try to pray your sunan and your nawafil. Right? Pray the optional salawat as well. Right? Try to build on whatever you're doing. So if you are doing some action, try to increase on that and do more. Right? Try to increase on that and then do more. Why? Because if you continue to improve, slowly and surely you'll definitely see the improvements, and inshallah a time will come when you'll look back and you'll realize that you're an entirely different person, and that how the entire how every single action leads and it slowly builds up, and subhanallah, when you look back, you're a completely changed person and you're a completely different person. Again, this doesn't happen overnight. A person doesn't change overnight. It's a progress. It takes time. And inshallah, the more a person continues to struggle and sacrifice, inshallah, a time will come that they will be able to change their lives. If a person does not do this, if a person doesn't make that change, a person doesn't try today, the time of change will never come, right? And what will happen is, if a person continues to neglect themselves, if a person continues to neglect their deen, if a person continues to neglect their religion and their obligations to the religion today, right? A time will come that they won't see the religion in their lives. A time may come, rather, that they may not see the religion in their lives, right? Not only in their own lives, but in their families' lives as well. It's very possible that a person does not remain as a Muslim. It's very possible. Allah Ta'ala, Rasulullah says, "Badiru bil a'mali fitana." Be very, hasten towards good deeds. Badiru bil a'mali fitana. Hasten towards good deeds before some fitna and some trial happens. Right? يُصْبِحُ الرَّجُلُ مُؤْمِنًا وَيُمْسِي كَافِرًا. A man, he begins the day as a believer and he ends the day as a disbeliever. أو يمسي مؤمنا ويصبح كافرا. Or he ends the day off as a believer and by morning he's a disbeliever. This is a reality for many people, right? Allah Ta'ala doesn't change. Allah Ta'ala looks for us to change our lives. Allah Ta'ala is waiting for us to change our lives, right? If we don't take that step, then that change will never come. Allah Ta'ala won't just send down angels, or Allah Ta'ala won't send down prophets. Allah Ta'ala won't send down any more prophets to remind us anymore. Everything has been already clarified, right? So now there's no one that's going to come and tell us that, listen, this is what's going to happen or that's going to happen. Allah Ta'ala already sent down the prophets. Allah Ta'ala already sent down Rasulullah to guide us, to teach us what we need to do, right? And if we choose to ignore those teachings, then the reality is that if we continue to ignore the commandments of Allah Ta'ala and the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, it's very possible that Allah Ta'ala will take the deen away from us, right? Again, this is a reality. If we don't value the deen, Allah Ta'ala can definitely take it away from us. Many of you, I'm sure you've seen the post regarding the Prime Minister of the UK, right? Boris Johnson, right? His great-grandfather was a Muslim. Boris Johnson, he's the current Prime Minister of UK. He's currently actually battling COVID-19. So, the Prime Minister, his grandfather's father, right? Father's father's father. So just 3 generations. And this person was a Muslim. Not only was he a Muslim, he was a Hafiz of Quran. He was a Hafiz of Quran. Can you imagine? He was a Hafiz of Quran, and 2 generations down the line, they're not Muslims anymore. So this is a reality for many of us, right? Our families, mashallah, we came from, different countries, and now alhamdulillah, we're here in this country. We have all of the blessings here. Now, if we don't value our faith and we don't look after our faith, it's very possible that Allah Ta'ala can take our faith away, right? And if Allah Ta'ala takes it away, it'll only be our faults, right? And can you imagine that our relatives, our children, our grandchildren, on the Day of Judgment, they stand up and they say that because my grandparents, they brought us to this country and they did not preserve our faith, we are no longer Muslims. Imagine the punishment that will happen to those people who deliberately allow their, their religion to fade away. Right? So subhanAllah, this is a reality for all of us. You and I, we all need to improve ourselves. We all need to improve on our deen. Right? No matter, even if it's something small. Right? Again, making sure that your daily salawat are being performed, making sure that you're performing the sunnah, making sure that all your actions are, all your obligations are fulfilled to Allah Ta'ala and to, of course, mankind as well, right? Make sure you all fulfill these obligations. Otherwise, again, Allah Ta'ala can definitely take it all away from us. Again, Ramadan will come and go. This lockdown, this quarantine will definitely pass, right? But it's a matter of how we use this time. Each and every single one of us, we can either spend this entire, this entire Ramadan, this entire lockdown, we can spend it on Netflix. We can spend the entire time, watching movies and watching TV shows and binging on different shows, right? And the time will pass. Ramadan will definitely pass, right? The months of quarantine will definitely pass. But at the end of it, we'll see that if a person has actually improved in his life, or a person has just allowed time to pass, right? Time doesn't wait for anyone. If we allow all of this time to pass, then we will be the losers. We will be those who will be the most unfortunate at that time, right? So, especially in this month of Ramadan, the main action is, of course, fasting, right? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, "Man sama Ramadan wa qamahu imanan wa ihtisaba, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi." The person who fasts during the month of Ramadan, right? And he spends the nights worshiping Allah Ta'ala. He does this imanan wa ihtisaba. He does this in firm belief and hoping for the rewards from Allah Ta'ala. غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِن ذَنْبِهِ. Allah Ta'ala will forgive all of his sins. Right? So, as much as possible, you and I, we need to make sure that our fasts are done correctly, and we need to make sure that our standing up at night, praying our Taraweeh, is done correctly as well. Although we are not at the masjid, although we are unable to perform Taraweeh at the masjid, this doesn't mean that Taraweeh is forgiven. This doesn't mean that you don't have to pray Taraweeh Salah, or this doesn't mean that because you're not having community iftars, this doesn't mean that you forego your iftars completely and you forego your fasts completely. This is not how Muslims should behave. Muslims, of course, we have to adapt to the situation. Whatever situation we're put in, we need to make the best of it and try to better ourselves in whatever situation we're given. Right? So the situation we have in front of us now is that all of us are quarantined at home. But the blessing of that, right? Now, one is that we look at the negatives. We look at, Allah Ta'ala has tested us with this quarantine, and we think of the negatives, and we think that, yeah, Allah, you're punishing us, right? And we're stuck at home. We can't do anything. We can't go outside, and we're all so worried about the coronavirus. And of course, it is something which should be taken seriously. But now, on the other side, we can look at it in a positive light as well. We can look at it as such that, Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has given us the opportunity to spend more time with our families. Allah Ta'ala has given us more time to spend in worshipping Allah Ta'ala. We can spend more time building that relationship with Allah Ta'ala, as opposed to allowing this time to just pass by, using it in different other useless activities. Some of us, unfortunately, we spend it, you know, the entire time we're binging on Netflix. Some people, I mentioned, one of my friends actually from Connecticut, he mentioned to me recently that he spent, I think it was 14 hours binging on Netflix at one time. And I was amazed, I was shocked. And he was telling me, he was saying that, Ajib, I could have memorized, I could have learned, I could have done so many other things, but I spent 14 hours on Netflix. And subhanAllah, this is how it is. This is how everything calls us away from the deen. Everything calls us away from Islam, right? And everything is taken as is meant to be a distraction to turn us away from Allah Ta'ala, to turn us away from building our relationship with Allah Ta'ala and building our relationship with the Quran. So the opportunities that we have, whatever opportunities that we have, we need to value them and we need to use them properly before Allah Ta'ala takes it away from us. Again, Ramadan will definitely come and go, and of course this quarantine will also come and go. But if we don't value these opportunities, Allah Ta'ala, it's possible that Allah Ta'ala will take them all away from us, and Allah Ta'ala can possibly even take our faith away from us as well. May Allah Ta'ala save us from going through such a difficult situation. Now, inshallah, what we'll be discussing now, it's 2:20, inshallah. What we'll be discussing now is regarding fasting. And alhamdulillah, we'll be doing this um, for the upcoming few weeks, inshallah. We have, I think, 5 sessions, inshallah, for this month of Ramadan. So, inshallah, for this, inshallah, hopefully every session we'll try to do something similar to this. We'll have some a portion of the lecture will go towards reflecting and how we can make our Ramadan better, right? And we spoke about that a bit, and hopefully, inshallah, I'll speak more about that as well, inshallah, over the upcoming weeks, inshallah. At the same time, inshallah, I'll go over a few masail. We'll go over a few ways to improve our Ramadan, a few ways to make sure that our Ramadan is better. And not only our Ramadan, but moving forward, our lives are better. Alhamdulillah, this is, I mean, Brother Hassan Shah, I know he has some great programs happening as well, alhamdulillah. I remember his monthly Quran Khatam. Is that still going on, Brother Hassan? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, that program is still going on. Believe me when I tell you that that program actually inspired me, and alhamdulillah, that program led me to actually start that in my own community. And you wouldn't believe it, alhamdulillah, we started that in our own community. The monthly Quran Khatam, we started it, and afterwards, alhamdulillah, we had 2 monthly Quran Khatams happening, and then alhamdulillah, it went on to a 3rd, alhamdulillah. So now, and then recently, what we started doing is, instead of making it monthly, because of the situation now, what we've decided is we started making it weekly. So alhamdulillah, now instead of having 3 monthly Quran khatams, we're having 3 weekly Quran khatams. Right? This is again, Brother Hassan, this program your program inspired me to make all of this happen. So alhamdulillah, these are different ways to improve our lives. These are different ways to build our relationship with the Quran and build our relationship with Allah Ta'ala. Right? We all need to learn the Quran. We all need to return and reflect on the Quran. We all need to turn back to the book of Allah Ta'ala. And of course, what better way is there to do that than as a community? So alhamdulillah, I'm sure Brother Hassan has his monthly Quran khatams happening as well, alhamdulillah. So we should all try to participate in that and try to improve our tilawat, try to improve our Quran recitation. Ajib, it's subhanallah, we think about the last time when we opened the Quran, aside from Ramadan, of course, many a times, unfortunately, throughout the entire year passes by and we don't even open the Quran once. It's unfortunately, some people, even in the month of Ramadan, unfortunately, we don't touch the Quran. So this Ramadan should be the Ramadan of change. Make this Ramadan the Ramadan of change, that you will try to build that relationship with the Quran, that you will try to recite more Quran, that you will try to complete a khatam of the Quran, no matter how long it takes, whether it takes a month, whether it takes 7 months, whether it takes a year, no matter how long it takes, continue and strive to memorize the Quran, try to learn the Quran. Again, subhanallah, many people they feel that I've reached a certain age and I've reached a certain time where now it's not possible for me to learn the Quran. Believe me when I tell you, I mean, in our community we have people, alhamdulillah, we have one hafiz of the Quran. He completed the hifz over 7 years. 7 years. This is with work. He has kids, he has a family and everything, right? But over 7 years, one Sunday a week, he would go and he would recite the Quran to someone. And over 7 years, he finished the Quran. And mashallah, I remember last year, he would be giving me correction. He would be correcting me. When I would lead the Tarawih Salah, he would correct me, right? And I would make mistakes, he would correct me and other hafal. Right? So can you imagine that? It took him 7 years, but mashallah, he had dedication and he went forward and he memorized the entire Quran. So never think it's too late. I have one elderly student with me, right? He's in his 50s, mashallah. Right? Every single day he reads Quran to me. Every single day he memorizes a portion of the Quran and he reads to me. Recently, before Ramadan, he completed Surah Al-Baqarah. Right? So he finished about 2 juz from the back, and now he finished 2.5 juz, meaning he memorized the entire Surah Al-Baqarah. Can you imagine? It's about 2.5 ajza, 2.5 juz, and he memorized the entire Surah Al-Baqarah just before Ramadan started. So this is a reality for all of us, that we can all do this. We can all move forward, and we can all build our relationship with Allah Ta'ala if we choose to do so. If we choose to ignore and we choose to spend hours and hours and hours on Netflix or other such platforms, then definitely the time will pass. We can spend hours. You can spend hours on Netflix. I remember there's one app, right? There's one app that records how much time is spent on which shows you watch, right? So I went on the website, I went on the app rather, and I typed in a few shows that I watched, and subhanallah, I was amazed at the days, not hours, days that were spent, right? Accumulative hours, they make up to different days and weeks even, right? How many days were spent watching different shows, right? Which we think, it's just half hour. We think it's only 20 minutes. One episode of, whatever show we're watching, it's only 20 minutes or it's only 40 minutes, right? And we think this time, oh, we'll have another hour later. We'll do this later. But subhanAllah, time is just passing by. And as the time passes by, we unfortunately, the time that passes by, unfortunately, we'll never get that time back. And that this time that passes by, Allah Ta'ala will ask us for that. What did you do with the time that I gave you? I gave you all of this time. I gave you all of these resources, but you spent it doing something else, doing something which doesn't benefit you. Right? So, SubhanAllah, this is a reality for all of us. We need to value the time that we're given, and we need to use it appropriately in the manner that Allah Ta'ala would love for us to use the time that we're given. So nevertheless, inshallah, I don't want to take too much time on the reflections period because I do want to get into the thick portion of fasting, inshallah. So we'll speak about a few aspects of fasting because many people have these questions. Believe me when I tell you, right? So recently, what we did is a panel of scholars, including myself. We created a WhatsApp group, right, for people to ask questions on, right? So WhatsApp groups, the limit is 257 people, if I'm not mistaken, right? Believe me when I tell you, within the first day, we made two groups, one for men, one for women. Within the first day, the groups were both of them were filled. We were forced to open a second WhatsApp group for men and women. Again, two full. Again, those groups as well. They were also completely filled as well. Right? So, Subhanallah, people are interested and they have a lot of questions. Right? And so, Subhanallah, Inshallah, what we'll try to do is we have this very comprehensive, this write up of the different obligations and the different rulings regarding fasting, whether it be the intention, whether it be the different types of fast. So we'll go through them, inshallah, and afterwards, hopefully within the next 15 minutes, we'll conclude, inshallah, and then we'll move on to the Q&A and then the dua, inshallah. So we'll be speaking about fasting and the different types of fasts, inshallah. First, the different types of fasts, there are four. The first is the fard, the obligatory fasts, which are the fasts of Ramadan. These Ramadan fasts, they're obligatory. You cannot miss them, of course, without a valid reason. Second are the Sunnah fasts. Those fasts which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam he kept, and he encouraged others to keep as well, such as the 9th and 10th of Muharram, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, Arafah, and so on and so forth. The third, mustahab. Those mustahab means preferable and optional, of course, but rewardable fasts. Those fasts are all the fasts besides the fard, the sunnah, such as the fasts of Mondays and Thursdays. Those fasts are mustahab, right? Those fasts you'll be rewarded for, but if you miss them, then you won't get any sin. And the fourth type of fasts are the prohibited fasts, the fasts that are prohibited. There are certain days that Allah Ta'ala prohibits us from fasting, and they are, number one, the Eid al-Fitr, number two, Eid al-Adha, and the 3 days after Eid al-Adha. So the days of Eid are days of celebration, wherein even fasting is prohibited, meaning you should not be fasting on these days. And if you do fast, you actually, instead of getting reward, you actually get sin for fasting on these days. So subhanallah, the deen is so awesome, amazing, that it allocates certain days, that these are the days for fun, that you have to enjoy time in these days. And if you don't enjoy, if you try to indulge, and you try to overwork and overburden yourself and even fast on those days, then it is actually disliked and it is actually prohibited from the side of Allah Ta'ala. Now, in regards to the intentions of fasting is necessary. A person must make intention of fasting. If a person doesn't intend to fast, right? If a person does not make the intention to fast, that even though they stay away from food, they stay away from drinks, and they stay away from relationships with their wives, then even then, that fast will not be accepted. The person won't get the reward of fasting. So even if they did everything that they needed to do, but they don't have the fasts, they don't have the intention of fasting, then they won't get the reward at all. So intention is necessary. Now, you may have the question, is it necessary to make the intention verbally? No, it is not necessary. Many people, they have this question. Is it necessary? No, it is not necessary to make the fast, the intention for the fast verbally. Rather, you can have in your heart. So long as you have the intention that I am making intention to fast in the Ramadan or in this fast, whatever fast it may be. But if you would like, it is recommended by some scholars to also make it verbally. You can say, I would like to I intend to fast tomorrow, or any other words. Some people, they also ask, do I have to make the intention in Arabic? Do I have to verbally say the Arabic? Bisomi ghadin nawaitu. I make the intention for fast tomorrow. Is it necessary? No, it is not necessary. If you would like to, you can make the intention in Arabic. But if you don't know the Arabic, you do not have to make the intention in Arabic. Moving on, we'll speak about those desirable acts while fasting. Right? There are certain things that you should do while you are fasting. Number one is to eat the suhoor. Number one is to eat the suhoor. So the sahri, what we call, right? A person, should wake up early morning. And that's the second one, right? To delay the suhoor up until a while before dawn, a short amount of time before dawn, meaning before fajr. Right, so suhoor is one desirable act you should eat, right? Even if it's a small amount of food. Some people, they don't like eating at that time. It's too early for them, right? So you should try to eat maybe before you go to sleep, or sometime, but don't avoid or don't not eat, because of course it'll lead to you being weak and you being unable to perform the obligation of fasting. So make sure you eat and try to delay it all the way up until a short while before Fajr. Number three, to end one's fast immediately, to make sure as soon as the time of Maghrib enters, break your fast, right? Break your fast as soon as the time of Maghrib enters, meaning the sunset happens, break your fast then, and don't delay in that. Fourth is to break one's fast with fresh or dry dates, right? Dates are a sunnah method of breaking the fast. So if you have dates, you should break your fast with the dates. Dates are known as superfoods, right? There's a lot of nutrients in dates. So try to break your fast with dates. Even if it's one date, try to break your fast with that. It's sunnah to break your fast with a date. Now, if you don't have dates, it's sunnah. The next option is to drink water. Break your fast with some water. Right? And the fifth preferable and the fifth desirable act in this for fasting is to make the intention at night. Right? So these five things we try to make, inshallah, before every single fast. Now there are some undesirable actions, right? There are some makruh actions while fasting. Number one is to chew on something, right? Many people, they have a habit of biting on their nails or chewing on rubber or plastic or something. This is makruh. This is disliked. Makruh means disliked, right? So this is something which should be avoided. Secondly, to taste food and then spit it back out. So sometimes people are cooking, right, and they want to taste the food that they're making, right? So it's makruh to taste the food, right? Again, you should, if you need to, of course, it is permitted, but again, there is a form of dislike towards it. So if you do have to do it, you can, but it is disliked. Third, all right, this some children do. Right, children do this. They collect saliva in their mouth and then they swallow it. So this is something which is also disliked. You should not do this. Number four is if you if ghusl becomes fard on you, if you must shower, you should not delay it until fasting. Right? Some people, they have the question: can I begin the fast even though I am not pure, I am not clean, and I need to shower? Right. So yes, technically you can begin the fast, but it is disliked to delay the shower until you are fasting. Fifth, to brush your teeth using toothpaste. Some people, they have another question: can we brush our teeth while fasting? And I've mentioned this when I was in Ramadan. I was in HIC for Ramadan about 2 years ago, I believe. I mentioned that you can brush your teeth while fasting, right? And you can, but at the same time, try to use natural toothpaste. Tom's of Hain or whatever else toothpaste that you have. that don't have odors, or don't leave odors in your mouth, or they don't leave a taste in your mouth. So yes, you can brush your teeth, but make sure to avoid those toothpastes which have tastes, right? And try to use natural toothpaste which don't have any flavors, right? So that's the fifth disliked action while fasting. Sixth is to complain of hunger or thirst. Of course, generally everyone is hungry, everyone is thirsty, so there's no need to complain, right? Try not to complain about how hungry you are or how thirsty you are. Number seven, to take the water too much up to the nostrils, right? When you're gargling and when you're putting water into your nostrils, right? The seventh disliked action is to put water into your nostrils too much, and the eighth is to gargle more than necessary, right? You shouldn't try to, some people, they think that, okay, I'll keep water in my mouth, and it'll moisturize my tongue or something like that. Again, you should not do this. This is dislike. Number nine is to argue and to fight and to use filthy language while fasting. This is something, of course, also disliked while fasting. Rasulullah Sallallahu, he says that there are certain people who fast and they get nothing out of their fasts except for hunger. And there are certain people who stand up at night, but they get nothing out of their standing up at night except for fatigue, right? So we shouldn't be amongst those people who allow our fast, meaning we are fasting but we continue our fast as normal, and we do all the filthy and indecent actions that we were doing before Ramadan. This should not be the case. Rather, we should try to change, and we should try to not bring those languages in our lives or in our tongues, inshallah. And lastly, the 10th action, which is disliked, is to backbite, to lie, or to swear other people. Of course, these are sinful actions throughout the year, but more specifically in the month of Ramadan, the sin for these things are much greater. So try to avoid these things, and try to suffice on the desirable acts, and of course avoid these disliked actions, inshallah. Um, we'll go on. We have a few more minutes, inshallah. We'll discuss the things that break one's fast, right? Now, before we speak about that, there are two things, right? One, those things that break fast are of two kinds. Number one, those that necessitate kafara, and those that necessitate qada. Qada means just makeup, right? So whatever action you're doing, if that action necessitates qada, meaning you don't have to do kafara, rather you just have to make up that one fast, right? So qada is to keep a single fast in place of the fast that you missed, right? And kafara is a penalty, right? Kafara is a penalty of certain actions that you do, which because of those certain actions, you must give this penalty, right? And the penalty is either, and we'll explain what they are, inshallah. Right, so kafara is uh, let's go into kafara. Kafara is basically keeping 60 continuous fast. If a person does an action which necessitates kafara, they must do 60 continuous fasts to make up for that one fast. So this is very severe. If a person intentionally does this, if a person does these actions, then they have to make it up, and they have to do kafara, which is 60 days. They don't have, sometimes people think that I have options. I can feed 60 people, or I can do this. No, no. First, you must try to do 60 continuous fasts. If for some reason, for some sickness or whatever, you cannot do it, then the other options are there. But firstly, a person must try to do 60 fasts continuously, and this is of course extremely difficult. Can you imagine fasting 60 days consecutively? This is of course very difficult, and so a person should try to never do anything that would necessitate this kafara. If a person cannot continuously fast for 60 days, then they have four options. Number one, and these four options can basically be divided into two options. The first option is to feed 60 people to their fill for 2 meals. Again, you feed 60 people 2 meals to their fill, right? So a lunch and dinner for 60 people. Or the second is to feed one person for 60 days 2 meals, right? So this is basically, I'd say, one option. And the second option is to give 60 people 3.5 pounds of food. right? So some grains or something, you give 60 people 3.5 pounds of grains or the equivalent in money, right? That's one. Or the second option is, of course, you give one person you give one person, uh, 60, you give one person 3.5 pounds of grains or food for 60 days consecutively, right? So these are the basically four options, but you can summarize them into two. Number one, the first option is to give one person, or rather give 60 poor people 2 meals a day, or give one person 2 meals a day for 60 days. Or the second is to give 60 people 3.5 pounds of food, right? Or to give one person 3.5 pounds of food for 60 days, or the cash equivalency, right? So these are the two options that you have if you have kafara on you. Now, let's quickly go through them, inshallah. I want to go over those things that make Allah. Um, let's go over kafara actually. Let's speak about those things that make kafara necessary. Number one is to eat, drink, or to break any to break your fast without a valid reason. Right? If you break your fast without a valid reason, you must do kafara, meaning you have to pay the penalty, which is fasting for 60 days consecutively. Second, thinking that the fast is broken, right, after you do something, right? So for example, you apply, surma in your eyes, or you apply oil. Some people, they think that if I put oil on my head, then my fast breaks, right? So if someone does this, and then they think that, okay, my fast broke, now I'll go and eat intentionally, right? Then that will also necessitate kafara, right? The third is to take any type of medicine intentionally, right? Again, to take a medicine which is not required. If you are required to take a medicine, then only qada, right? Meaning you only have to make up that one day. But if for whatever reason, let's say you want to take some Tylenol or some medicine which you are not required, it's not required of you to take, then that necessitates kafara, right? Again, hopefully this is clarified. If you are obligated, if your doctor tells you you need to take this medicine, then that's a different situation, and uh, you can just make qada of that one day that you missed. And number four is to have relationships with your wives, or your spouse. If you have a relationship with your spouse, then also that will necessitate kafara, because that's something which you should not be doing while you are fasting. Um, those things that make qada necessary, there are a lot. Uh, I think we should start them, or maybe we'll speak about them next week, inshallah. Brother Hassan, inshallah. I don't want to take too much time. I saw that there were some questions, so let's go into those questions, inshallah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's great. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. First of
Alaikum
all,
salam.
mashallah, a lot of respect and a lot of admiration to Mufti Saad to doing this, from his private residence. This connection, we certainly need this connection. So without further ado, we have some questions. After that, we have just a statement or just an update from the community. And then from there, we'll do a dua to close out the session. So we got two questions right off the bat. We encourage everybody, please use the chat group to put your questions in the fold. First question is basically, can I pray 8 rakats of Taraweeh at home on a daily basis, reciting the short surahs that I've memorized?
So, uh, so yes, the easy answer is that yes, you can pray your Taraweeh Salah at home. But of course, what we encourage people is to pray the full Taraweeh. All right, and the full Taraweeh, as we know, is 20 rak'at. We should try to pray 20 rak'at, as it's been done since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahaba, they have always, and we see it also in the Haramain. Only if we see in Makkah and Medina that they have always been continuing to pray 20 rak'at. Only this year they have to pray 10 rak'at because of the situation that's happening now. But aside from that, 20 rak'at, we should try to pray. Not only should we pray it, we should also involve our families. Try to pray with your families, involve your families, gather the entire family, and then pray together, right? Whatever surahs that you know, even if it's the last 10 surahs, even if you only know, let's say you only know 10 surahs, you only know the last 10 surahs, gather the family and pray all those 10 surahs, repeat them twice, right? So it doesn't take too long, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, right, to pray those 20 rak'at. They'll finish relatively quickly, but gather the family and make sure you are praying Salat al-Taraweeh together, and make sure whatever Quran that you know, try to practice it and then lead your family. Pray together, and you'll see how Allah Ta'ala builds that relationship, of course, amongst yourselves, amongst the family, but also to Allah Ta'ala, because it is a communal obligation, and because we can't fulfill it as a community, at the very least, we should fulfill it as a family, inshallah.
Excellent feedback, mashallah. Next question we have, and this is the last one, is what are some of the best ways to keep our children on the right track? I guess this is when you were mentioning about the UK Prime Minister a few generations
Mm,
from here, and we're living in a non-Muslim country.
yes, yes. This is definitely a tough question. Subhanallah. There's so much that we need to do, right? At the very least, what I encourage parents is that on a daily basis, try to bring the deen into their lives. So now, I'll mention a few things actually. So one is, try to have some ta'aleem, try to have some, try to sit the family down together, and you all should read from some book, or try to learn together, learn the deen together. So whether it's the biography of the Prophet ﷺ, or whether it's some anecdotes from the lives of the Sahaba, or whatever it may be, some anecdotes from the lives of the pious predecessors, whatever it may be, we try to do this as a family, try to do this together, involve the entire family, and try to try to learn together. That's number one. Aside from that, right, more importantly, before that, actually, what's more important is the parents, they need to practice the faith, they need to practice on the deen, they need to be the role model for the kids. If the parents are not practicing the faith, I know many kids, right, they'll learn how to pray salah, they learn how to do wudu, they learn how to give the adhan, and then they come home and they don't see their parents praying salah, they don't see their parents doing wudu, their parents don't encourage them to give the adhan. So what happens is, they have all of this knowledge, right? They learn all of these things from either Sunday school or from their teachers, whoever it may be, and then they don't see it being implemented. And so they think, what happens is, kids, they think that Islam is something that needs to be practiced at the masjid. It's something that needs to be practiced in school, right? Or in maktab, whatever it may be, or Sunday school, whatever it may be, right? But when they come home, rather, that's the time that Islam should be practiced. Islam begins outside of the masjid, rather, right? The masjid is only a place where you go to revive your deen, a place where you go to practice and learn the deen. And the deen you practice once you leave the masjid. And in every sphere of life, every single aspect of life, you bring the deen into your life there. You bring the different aspects of the deen in there, right? So whether it be in your families, whether it be in your workplaces, whatever it may be, you try to bring the deen there, right? Rather, you shouldn't limit Islam to the masajid. You shouldn't limit Islam to the maktab or the madrasa, whatever it may be. Rather, bring the deen into the families, right? The parents, they need to do this. They need to involve, and they need to gather the entire family and pray and worship Allah Ta'ala together, learn about Islam together, do different activities together. And now, of course, there are many ways, right? If a person continues to encourage their children to recite Quran, and the parents themselves, they sit down to recite Quran, the kids automatically, they'll come and they'll sit down with their parents, and they will also they'll either listen, and sometimes they'll also try to read as well. Now you need to start this from a young age. You can't do this much later on in their lives, right? They won't listen to you at that point. Rather, you need to start at a young age. You need to start now, right? With all the kids, you need to gather, whether you have teenagers, whoever they are, you need to start now, and you need to encourage them. Try to bribe them, even if you need to. Give them candy, give them rewards for accomplishing different actions, right? But if you don't do this now, they won't have that feeling, or that love for practicing the deen. If you force them to practice, they also won't practice. So always encourage them. Try to encourage them, and continue to encourage and lead, and teach them through love, right? Teach them with love. Otherwise, they'll never learn, and they'll never have that love towards the deen. The most important thing is having the love towards the deen. If you don't have love towards the deen, that deen, it'll be something that they'll just remember that my parents, they used to practice it, and they would force us to sometimes do it as well. They would force us to do this, right? They would force us to do that. Don't, this deen is not about compulsion. It's not about forcing people. Rather, you should teach people and treat them and try to encourage them with love. Once you do that, inshallah, they themselves will have the love in their hearts, and they automatically they'll want to do these things. But if parents, if they're not doing this, then it's very likely that kids will not do this, and then you'll see. It doesn't have to be 3 generations down the line. It's maybe 1 or 2 generations down the line. You'll see that the kids will leave the deen. Again, it's our responsibility. If we don't step up and if we don't look after the deen of our kids, then it's possible that Allah Ta'ala will take this huge blessing away from us and from our kids. May Allah Ta'ala save us. I mean,
Yes, excellent. Yes, and that's a conversation, a very longer conversation, inshallah. But thank you for giving us that insight on how to move forward. And mashallah, love being that underlying tone. Alhamdulillah. And now we're just going to share just updates a little bit about HIC very quickly. And then from there, we'll conclude with a dua. First of all, on behalf of HIC, we're extremely grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can still go forward with our masjid project. And obviously all masjids are now virtually speaking. There's a lot of different programs that are happening. Alhamdulillah, our progress is still going on. We still have a weekly halaqah on Fridays. It's a stopgap for obviously Jummah time period from 1 to 1:30. Please come back to this channel and you'll see a weekly halaqah. We have a nighttime Quran recitation program that's happening at nighttime from 9 to 10, where we're having the youth. Every single kid in that program is under the age of 18, which is great, a blessing. It's the children are reading Quran and then they're reading the Say International, and the Hafiz is actually reciting a portion each and every night. So please tune into that. The HIC medical community is heavily engaged on the front lines. May Allah protect each and every one of them. We have many people, that are in that medical facility, and there's so many long lists of names to mention. We have a weekly update letter that goes out in the broadcast group. Please take a look at that. On the website, we have the Ramadan calendar. Please print that out, put it on your fridge. It's really beneficial. We also encourage everyone to visit the website, and there's a donate link. Click on that link, drop some sadaqah if you need be. Inshallah, as the weeks progress, we'll be opening up for Zakatul Fitr as well too. So we ask that. We have many families in this community who are directly affected by this COVID-19. And we have many people who actually loved ones have also passed away as well too. So without further ado, Mufti Saad, if you can do a dua, inshallah, to close out today's session. On behalf of HIC, we wish everyone a safe and well Ramadan Mubarak for 1441. Jazakallah.
before we begin the dua, inshallah, Brother Hassan Shah's mother, I believe she's fighting COVID-19, so we make dua for her, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala grant her shifa, may Allah Ta'ala grant her long life with khair and afiyah and ease, inshallah. And also, I believe his uncle, Saad, also passed away a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So we make dua that 2 weeks ago, may Allah Ta'ala grant him Jannatul Firdaus, may Allah Ta'ala forgive all of his sins, and may Allah Ta'ala make it easy on the family as well. Inshallah, we'll begin dua now, inshallah. We'll actually wait. Let's wait 1 second. If anyone who's online, if anyone wants to mention anyone specific that we should make, or I'll make dua for, inshallah. We'll wait for that. 1 minute.
Yeah, just if you want to leave a name in the chat group, that'll be perfect. Anyone for shifa or anyone that has passed or any other illness or hardship you want to include in the dua, just please drop their name in the chat group.
In the meantime, we also recite Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Ikhlas at least once, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد Sheikh Halmi and Brother Waqar. Inshallah, we'll make dua for them as well, inshallah. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول النبي الكريم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدنيا والآخرة اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في ديننا ودنيانا وأهلنا ومصحبنا يا الله يا الله ما إنا نسأل اللهم أنت ربنا لا إله إلا أنت خلقتني وأنا عبدك وأنا على عهدك ووعدك ما استطعت أعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت وأبوء لك بنعمتك علي وأبوء لك بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت اللهم إني أسألك العافية في الدنيا والآخرة اللهم إني أسألك العفو والعافية في ديني ودنياي وأهلي ومالي اللهم استر عوراتي وآمن روعاتي اللهم احفظني من بين يدي ومن خلفي وعن يميني وعن شمالي ومن فوقي وأعوذ بعظمتك أن أغتال من تحتي Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Allah, accept our communities, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Please bless our communities, Ya Allah. Allah, all those people who have asked for du'as, Ya Allah, please accept their du'as, Ya Allah. Please, Ya Allah, please, all those people who participated in this halaqah, in this program, Ya Allah, please bless them, Ya Allah. Allah, please, all those people who participated and who were actually involved in making this program come to light, Ya Allah, please bless them, Ya Allah. Bless their families, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Brother Hassan Shah, especially, Ya Allah. MashaAllah, he works very hard for the community, Ya Allah. Please, he has a lot of concern for the family, Ya Allah. Please bless him, bless his family, and Ya Allah. Please reward his time, and Ya Allah. Please, Ya Allah, you please reward him, Ya Allah. Please, you grant him, Ya Allah, the best of this dunya and the best of the akhirah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, all those people who struggle tirelessly, Ya Allah. Brother Khalid, Brother Noor, and so many others, MashaAllah, of the HIC community, Ya Allah. I know they try so hard, Ya Allah. Please bless them, Ya Allah. Bless their families, and Ya Allah. Please bless them in every way of life, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, please continue to accept our actions, Ya Allah. Whatever small actions that we do, Ya Allah, please accept our actions, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, please give us sincerity in our actions, Ya Allah. Please grant us sincerity in our actions, Ya Allah. Allah, please guide us to the straight path, and Ya Allah, please make us a means of guidance for the entire humanity, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, please guide us to the straight path, and Ya Allah, please make us a means of guidance for the entire humanity. Ya Allah, please, all those people who are struggling, all those people who are going through different problems, Ya Allah. Allah, please alleviate their sufferings, and Ya Allah, please remove their problems, Ya Allah. Allah, all those people who ask for du'as, Ya Allah, please, Ya Allah, please, you fulfill their hajat, Ya Allah, please, you accept their du'as, Ya Allah. Allah, all those people who didn't ask for du'as, Ya Allah, but Ya Allah, you know that they need du'as, Ya Allah, please accept their du'as as well, Ya Allah. Allah, you fulfill their hajat as well, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, all those people who are struggling financially, Ya Allah, please, Ya Allah, please remove their sufferings, Ya Allah. All those people who are struggling and who are going through health related difficulties, Ya Allah, please remove their difficulties, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, all those people who are suffering with whichever problems and difficulties they may be going through, Ya Allah, please remove all of their problems and difficulties, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, bless our communities, Ya Allah, bless our families, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, please. اللهم إنا نسألك خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من ما استعاذ منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah, Mufti Saad. Very heartwarming dua, mashallah. Very good program, very good insights. Again, we thank everybody in the viewing audience that was able to log in today. This will be uploaded to a YouTube channel, Islam 200 as well, inshallah. We look forward for everyone to maintain the consistency of tonight's program, the weekly halaqah, and then again to resume back on Saturday again. With further ado, Jazakallah khair to everyone that's here. And again, Ramadan Mubarak, and we'll see you next week, inshallah. Have a good week, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.